Hello, folks. This recent bombing or bomber in New York City and New Jersey, his name is Ahmad Rahami. His nickname is Mad because of the last three letters of his first name. So, of course, now he's the Mad Bomber. Convenient. He has been to Afghanistan, which is a country that has, to say the least, unhappy with the United States, and then has come back. His family has had complaints. They own a family restaurant in New Jersey. They've had some complaints about the noise and about loitering. And not only have they had complaints about their business, but they've also complained about people hanging out outside the street. They've complained about some other stuff. The city council knew them well, knew the people, knew the young man that did the bombings well, knew who he was. And he'd complained about the way Muslims were being treated in the United States. He had been kind of openly anti-homosexual, according to these articles I'm reading. He had been kind of telegraphing that he was not happy with the United States. And he went to Afghanistan, which all these articles believe that maybe there's a possibility that he was actually radicalized in Afghanistan. Now, folks, why is it that these guys never get busted by Homeland Security and the FBI? How is it that somebody who goes to Afghanistan and comes back, who complains and bitches about the United States, who is a Muslim in his 20s, he's 28, the exact person that Homeland Security tells you, see something, say something, the exact person who we see on movies and television shows and books and everything else that is the terrorist. And not only in fiction life, okay, and by the government, but also in reality with things like the Pulse shooting and the Boston bombings. So explain to me how they could possibly miss somebody like this. And it's not because they don't have enough reach or power, because we know from Julian Assange and Edward Snowden and Bradley Manning and that all of your electronic communications are being monitored. So anytime you send off an email, or anytime you get a fax, or anytime you make a phone call on your cell phone, it's being captured by somebody somewhere and put into a mainframe. And then later they go in and look for certain words, keywords, and they go from there. This is happening. We know it's true. And they still can't stop this guy. And he lived in New Jersey. He didn't live in, where would he have to have lived for them not to be able to find him? How much money does the FBI or Homeland Security need to be able to stop this guy? This is why people are conspiracy theorists. This kind of shit right here. Because you look at this stuff, he made 8 bombs with complicated chemical compounds that would either have had to have been synthesized or taken from other chemicals, or he would have to have acquired the chemicals, and maybe we'll find out days later from now that he had help, because that's what people are wondering is why they're starting to ask that question. I can kind of see it a little bit. Why are these guys always alone, and where the hell is all their help? And the FBI, the sleeper cell, and then they're active. This guy, that was a project. 8 bombs. I mean, he wasn't, that's a project. He would have needed some help, and he would have at least gone online and fucking looked for, I don't know, documents on how to, build bombs. And by the way, the FBI always does this, and the media does this too. It is not easy to build a bomb and tie it into a cell phone. It is not easy. Now, you can do it, but it is not an easy process. Don't try to build a fucking bomber. I mean, if you want to, it's up to you, whatever. But it's not an easy process. Many people end up blowing their hands off or limbs off. You have to run tests and make sure it's going to work. You have to know what you're doing with the chemicals. You have to understand this is some dangerous shit to say, to point out the obvious. And the media just acts like anybody can get online and slap together a bomb and they're good to go. It's just ridiculous. So this is why people are conspiracy theorists. Because if they don't know that a guy like this is coming after the Pulse shooting, or if they didn't know that the Pulse shooting guy was coming, then who the fuck are they watching? Who is Homeland Security really concerned with? Why are we giving up our civil liberties and making it hell to get on a fucking airplane and going through the processes that we're going to TSA checkpoints and just continuing to give up more and more of our civil rights and more of our freedoms? I mean, they're searching our fucking children for bombs. I mean, we've crossed the line, folks. Asking people for their fucking papers. I mean, we're just just inching towards fascism. We're just inching. And it's because of this shit, because of the incompetence of the people that were paying billions of dollars a year to stop, or hundreds of millions of dollars a year to stop the very guys that are doing the terrorist act. They know who's doing it. And they have all of the fucking power they need. They can listen to any intelligence they need to. They can listen to any conversation. They can spy on people. They can snatch them up and get the presidential order that they don't have to. They can just literally they'll never appear in a regular court. They'll only appear in a military court because they're considered, terrorists. So they're fighting a war. So it's a war. I mean, this is the loopholes that have been set up since 9/11. And never mind black sites and all that shit. Yet these guys are getting through, and they're telegraphing it. This guy might as well have had a shirt that said, "I'm a potential fucking terrorist." He comes back from Afghanistan. He's pissed off about America. He talks about it openly. And then he makes 8 bombs by himself somewhere, or with a group of people. Who the fuck knows? Just under the radar. Nobody knows it. Nobody gets it. Nobody hears it. Nothing goes wrong. Never explosions, etc., 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 etc. That's why people are conspiracy theorists. Because all of this shit's like, and if you're not a conspiracy theorist, then you'd have to look at it this way. Why am I giving up on my freedoms? Why am I why are we spending tax money on all these every time a terrorist attack comes up, somebody gets more money, or somebody gets or a new organization gets a new member, or a new organization is created. Why are we doing that? They can't stop it. They can't stop a guy who went to Afghanistan, complained about America, openly, pissed off, Muslim. They can't stop him. They can't stop him. They can't. After the Pulse shooting, they can't stop him. So why are we paying them? Why are we doing this? It makes no sense. It's completely illogical. But it continues to go on, and they'll just get more funding, and we'll just have to give up more of our civil rights, and we'll just have to excuse me. And that's what will happen, because that's inevitably what will go on. And instead of asking ourselves, are they, I don't, who the fuck knows? Are they involved? Are they letting this shit happen? We know that the FBI has actually infiltrates these terrorist organizations, quote unquote, these groups of people, then give them fake explosives and set them up. And then on the day of the event, the FBI swoops in and busts these guys and becomes big heroes. There was a mainstream book written about this. I'll do a video about. Look it up. Like 6 or 7 different instances in the since 9/11, that this was between 9/11 and 2007 or 8, somewhere in that area. Fascinating book. And again, I'll do a video about that. But my point is, the FBI, if they can't stop it, then they're helping it. And if they're not helping it, then they can't stop it. And if they can't stop it, why are we funding it? They're incompetent to a ridiculous degree. I said this about Bush. Even if 9/11 was exactly what it appeared to be, even if you think that, 19 Arab hijackers took those planes, George Bush should have been fucking taken to the Hague. He should have been taken to, not the Hague, but he should have been taken to court. You were the manager of the largest military industrial complex in the world. It's like saying, if I had a building and my building was broken into and all my shit was stolen and my family was killed, I would fucking tell the guy that was running security that day on my building, I would hold him accountable seriously. I would say, what the fuck did you do? What the fuck happened? And you would be fired the next day. I would not re-up your contract. See what I'm saying? And that's what's going on with these guys. If you can't stop us from being attacked, then fuck off. We don't need you. Why spend more money? Why keep throwing good money over bad money for something that you obviously have no idea how to stop? Thank you for listening.